Mina had lived her whole life in the small town of Riverview. She knew every street, every neighbor, and every shop in the town. She worked at the little bakery near the river. Every morning, she would wake up before sunrise, walk to the bakery, and help prepare fresh bread and pastries. She liked the smell of warm bread and the sight of customers smiling when they tasted something she had baked. Even though her life was simple, she felt content. She liked quiet days and peaceful nights. One morning, Mina found a letter in the mailbox that looked unusual. The envelope was thick, and the paper inside was old-fashioned. Her hands trembled slightly as she opened it. The letter was from a lawyer. It said that Mina had inherited a house from her grandfather, a man she had never met. The lawyer wrote that her grandfather had lived alone, and although he did not have much, he had left the house to her. Mina had always known that her grandfather lived a simple life. People in Riverview often talked about him. They said he had no family except distant relatives, and he had spent his life quietly working as a gardener and carpenter. Mina remembered hearing stories from her mother about him. He had always loved nature and animals, and he never wasted anything. Mina wondered what kind of house a man like him could have left behind. The letter included directions to the house. It was far away, in a small countryside village surrounded by hills and trees. Mina felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She decided to go immediately. She packed a small bag with clothes, some food, and her notebook. She wanted to write everything down. She left the town, saying goodbye to the bakery and the river that she loved. The journey was long. She rode a small bus through winding roads, past green fields and forests. Birds flew across the sky, and the wind smelled fresh and earthy. After hours of travel, she finally saw the house. It was strange and beautiful at the same time. It was made of wood and stone, and the roof was covered with moss. The garden was full of wildflowers, some of which were tall and colorful, while others grew in small patches along the walls. The windows were dusty, and the paint on the shutters was faded, but the house had a warm feeling. Mina stepped out of the bus and walked up to the front door. The door was large and heavy, with a brass handle that looked old but polished. She touched it carefully and pushed it open. The door creaked loudly, and the sound echoed through the empty house. Mina stepped inside. The air smelled of old wood, flowers, and a faint hint of herbs. She felt a chill, but it was not unpleasant. It felt like the house was welcoming her. The inside of the house was simple. There were wooden floors, walls painted in soft colors, and furniture covered with white sheets. Mina lifted one of the sheets and saw a wooden chair. She walked further and found a small table with an old lamp on it. On the table, there was a small key tied with a thin ribbon. Next to the key was a note written in careful handwriting. It said, "This key opens the place where the heart of the house lives. Find it, and you will understand everything." Mina looked at the key and then at the note. She wondered what it could mean. She had no idea where to start. She walked from room to room, opening doors and peeking into corners. Each room was different. One room had shelves full of old books. The covers were faded, and the pages smelled sweet and musty. Another room had paintings of forests, rivers, and mountains. Some paintings looked so real that Mina felt she could step inside them. As she explored, she noticed small details that made the house feel alive. There were tiny wooden carvings of birds and animals on the shelves. In one corner, a small birdhouse hung from the ceiling. On the floor, she found dried flowers pressed into the pages of a book. The house seemed to tell a story about her grandfather, his love for nature, and his quiet life. Mina felt connected to him even though she had never met him. In the kitchen, Mina found old utensils, a wooden cutting board, and jars filled with herbs. There was a small stove, and the windows let in sunlight that warmed the room. She imagined her grandfather cooking simple meals here. The thought made her smile. She decided to make some tea and unpack her bag. Sitting by the window, she looked outside. The garden was wild but beautiful. Butterflies flew among the flowers, and a small cat watched her from the corner of the garden. As the day passed, Mina explored the garden. She noticed paths covered with grass and stones. The flowers grew in colors she had never seen before. Some smelled sweet, and others had a fresh, earthy scent. She found a small pond with clear water. Tiny fish swam inside it, and dragonflies hovered above the surface. Mina felt calm and happy. The house and garden seemed magical, even though nothing seemed unusual at first. As evening approached, Mina returned inside the house. She sat by the fireplace, which was old but still strong. She held the key in her hand and thought about the note. What could her grandfather mean by the heart of the house? She felt a thrill of curiosity and a little nervousness. She decided she would find the answer, no matter what. She made a small notebook entry, writing down everything she had seen so far. She wanted to remember every detail. Night fell, and Mina lit a small lamp. The house was quiet, except for the soft sound of the wind outside. She could hear owls hooting and the rustle of leaves. She felt safe and excited. She knew that the house held secrets and stories that were waiting for her. With the key in her hand, she felt that she was about to begin an adventure that could change her life. Before sleeping, Mina opened the window and looked at the moonlight falling on the garden. She whispered quietly, "I will find the heart of this house." The house seemed to listen. Mina felt a gentle warmth around her, as if the house was welcoming her and guiding her. She lay down on the bed, holding the key close, and closed her eyes. She could not wait for the next day to begin exploring more and discovering what her grandfather had left for her. Mina did not know what she would find, but she felt a strange happiness. Something told her that this house was not just a place to live. It was a place of stories, memories, and discoveries. She drifted into sleep, dreaming of hidden rooms, secret passages, and treasures that might be waiting for her. She felt ready for whatever the house had in store. The next morning, Mina woke early. Sunlight filtered through the dusty windows, casting soft golden stripes across the wooden floor. She felt refreshed and eager to explore more of the house. The key still rested in her palm, and her mind was full of questions. What did her grandfather mean by the heart of the house? Where could it be hidden? She decided to start with the library. The room was large, filled with tall shelves that almost touched the ceiling. Books of all sizes and colors lined the shelves. Some were worn and cracked, while others looked newer but still had an old charm. Mina walked slowly, running her fingers along the spines of the books. She felt the texture of the paper and smelled the faint scent of ink and age. Suddenly, she noticed one book that looked different. It was small, with a green cover and golden letters she could barely read. She pulled it from the shelf and opened it. The pages were filled with drawings of the house, the garden, and small symbols she did not understand at first. One drawing showed a hidden door behind a bookshelf. Mina's heart raced. Could this be a clue? She carefully examined the wall behind the shelf. To her surprise, she found a small indentation in the wood. It was shaped like the key she held. Mina took a deep breath and inserted the key. It fit perfectly. She turned it, and with a soft click, the bookshelf began to move. It slowly swung open, revealing a narrow, dimly lit corridor. Mina felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She had never seen anything like this in her life. The corridor smelled faintly of earth and herbs. The walls were lined with old paintings, most of them landscapes of forests, rivers, and mountains. Some had animals hiding in the trees, painted so realistically that Mina felt they were watching her. She stepped forward cautiously, listening to the sound of her footsteps on the wooden floor. The corridor seemed to go on forever, but Mina felt she was getting closer to something important. After a few minutes, the corridor opened into a small room. The room was filled with sunlight coming through a high window. In the center was a wooden chest, carved with intricate patterns. Mina approached it slowly. The carvings looked like vines and flowers twisting around each other. She ran her fingers over the chest and felt the smooth curves of the wood. The key seemed to hum slightly in her hand, as if it knew what to do. She opened the chest carefully. Inside, she found letters, photographs, and small objects. Each item seemed to tell a story. There were letters from her grandfather to people she did not know, written with care and warmth. There were photographs of the village, of festivals, and of children playing near the river. Mina felt as if she was seeing the life her grandfather had lived, a life full of small joys and hidden beauty. One letter caught her attention. It was addressed to her. Her grandfather had written it years before she was born. In the letter, he wrote about the house, the garden, and the animals he had cared for. He spoke about the importance of kindness, patience, and curiosity. He encouraged her to explore the house, to find the secrets, and to learn from them. Mina felt a lump in her throat. She had never expected to feel so close to a man she had never met. Mina spent hours in the room, reading the letters and looking at the photographs. She discovered that her grandfather had been a man of imagination. He had built small surprises for anyone who visited the house. There were notes hidden in the garden, tiny carvings in the walls, and even small toys tucked in drawers. Every corner of the house had a story, and Mina realized that the heart of the house was not just one room or object. It was the love and care her grandfather had put into every detail. After exploring the chest, Mina decided to go into the garden again. She wanted to see if there were more clues hidden outside. The garden looked different in the morning light. The flowers shone brightly, and the trees cast playful shadows on the ground. Mina walked along the paths, noticing small details she had missed before. A stone shaped like a heart was tucked under a bush. A tiny wooden door was hidden behind a patch of tall flowers. She laughed quietly, feeling her grandfather's presence around her. Mina opened the small wooden door. Inside was a miniature room, almost like a dollhouse, but with incredible detail. There were tiny chairs, tables, and shelves, all carved with care. On one of the shelves was a small journal. She opened it and saw that her grandfather had written stories about the house, the animals, and the people in the village. Each story had a lesson, a small message about kindness, bravery, or curiosity. Mina felt inspired. She realized that her grandfather had wanted her to learn from these stories, to continue the life he had started. As the sun began to set, Mina returned to the main house. She felt a sense of wonder and joy she had never experienced before. The house was no longer just a building. It was a place of discovery, learning, and imagination. She understood that the heart of the house was everywhere. It was in the key, the chest, the letters, the garden, and even in the air that filled the rooms. Every part of the house carried a piece of her grandfather's spirit. That evening, Mina sat by the fireplace again, holding the key and the letters. She felt connected to her grandfather in a way that surprised her. She realized that he had not just left her a house. He had left her a world full of stories, secrets, and wisdom. Mina knew that she would spend many months exploring every corner, learning every lesson, and discovering every secret. She felt grateful and excited. Her life had changed already, and she had only just begun. Before sleeping, Mina placed the key on the table and whispered quietly, "I will find all the secrets and keep your heart alive." The house seemed to respond. A gentle breeze moved the curtains, and Mina felt a warmth around her, as if her grandfather's spirit was there with her. She smiled, knowing that this was the beginning of an adventure that would stay with her forever. She closed her eyes, dreaming of the paths she had yet to walk, the letters she had yet to read, and the stories she had yet to uncover. Mina slept peacefully that night. The house was alive with memories and magic. She had found the first part of the heart of the house, but she knew there was much more waiting for her. The adventure had just begun, and she felt ready for everything that was coming. The next morning, Mina woke with a feeling of excitement. The house seemed different today, as if it knew she had begun understanding its secrets. She held the key tightly in her hand and thought about the corridor she had discovered yesterday. She knew there were still many hidden rooms she had not explored. Today, she wanted to go deeper into the house and uncover more mysteries. Mina started with the corridor again. She walked carefully, looking at the paintings and carvings along the walls. She noticed a small door that she had not seen before. It was almost hidden behind a hanging tapestry of a forest scene. The door was tiny, just big enough for a person to squeeze through. Her curiosity grew. She inserted the key, but this time it did not fit. She pushed lightly, and the door opened slightly with a soft creak. Inside, Mina saw a spiral staircase that led downwards. The walls were made of stone, and faint light shone from small openings. She could hear the soft sound of water dripping somewhere below. Mina took a deep breath and started to descend. The stairs felt ancient but strong. She felt a mixture of nervousness and excitement. She had never imagined that a house could have a hidden basement like this. At the bottom of the stairs, Mina found a large room. It was dimly lit by sunlight filtering through small windows near the ceiling. The room smelled of earth and wood. In the center, there was a large wooden table covered with papers, tools, and maps. Mina walked slowly around the table, looking at everything carefully. There were maps of the village, sketches of the house, and notes in her grandfather's handwriting. Mina picked up a map that showed a secret garden behind the house. The map included paths and symbols she did not understand immediately. There were also drawings of strange plants and flowers that were not in the main garden. Mina realized that her grandfather had created a hidden garden for special plants, ones he had discovered or cultivated himself. She felt a thrill of excitement. She had never expected the house to hold such surprises. Next to the table, Mina saw a small wooden box. Inside were more letters and a tiny journal. The journal was leather-bound and had her grandfather's name written on the cover. She opened it and saw entries about the house, the land, and the people who had visited over the years. Her grandfather wrote about his dreams, the lessons he had learned, and the importance of curiosity and care. Mina read carefully, feeling a connection to him that grew stronger with every page. One entry caught her attention. It spoke about a hidden room in the house where her grandfather had placed his most precious items. He called it the Room of Dreams. According to the entry, anyone who found it would understand the meaning of the house and the importance of imagination, kindness, and patience. Mina's heart raced. Could this be the true heart of the house? She knew she had to find it. Mina left the hidden room and went back upstairs. She decided to follow the map to the secret garden first. The garden was behind the house, shielded by tall trees and thick bushes. Mina pushed aside branches and stepped carefully along the narrow path. The air smelled sweet, with the scent of unknown flowers. As she walked, she noticed plants she had never seen before. Some had bright colors, and others had leaves shaped in unusual patterns. The garden seemed alive with magic. In the center of the garden, Mina found a small fountain. Water flowed gently, and tiny fish swam in the clear pool. Around the fountain were stones with carved symbols. Mina touched one of the stones and felt a strange warmth in her hand. She realized that her grandfather had designed the garden to teach lessons about nature, patience, and observation. Each plant, stone, and path had a purpose. Mina felt amazed by the care and thought that had gone into every detail. After exploring the garden, Mina returned inside the house. She decided it was time to search for the Room of Dreams. She moved through the hallways, examining doors and walls carefully. She noticed a pattern in the carvings on the walls. Vines and flowers twisted in a way that seemed to point toward one corner of the house. Mina followed the pattern and reached a small door she had never opened before. The door was simple, with no lock, but it seemed to call her to enter. Mina opened the door slowly and stepped inside. The room was filled with soft light coming from a window covered with lace curtains. In the center was a large chest, beautifully carved and polished. Mina approached it carefully. She opened the chest and found objects that made her heart beat fast. There were books, small treasures, paintings, and letters. Everything looked carefully arranged, as if her grandfather had wanted the finder to experience joy and discovery. Mina picked up a small painting of a forest. The colors were so vivid that it seemed she could step into the scene. She placed her hand on it and felt a strange connection, as if the painting carried the energy of the forest. She explored more objects in the chest. There were tiny wooden animals, each carved with care. There were letters written to children, friends, and strangers, all filled with wisdom and kindness. Mina realized that her grandfather had left a gift for anyone who came to the house with an open heart. As she read, Mina discovered a letter addressed to her specifically. Her grandfather wrote that he had hoped she would find the room of dreams. He explained that the heart of the house was not a single object, but the collection of all the love, care, imagination, and lessons he had placed in every corner. He encouraged her to continue exploring, to learn, and to share the house with others who would appreciate its magic. Mina felt tears in her eyes. She had never expected to feel so close to her grandfather. Evening came, and Mina sat by the chest, holding the letter. She thought about everything she had discovered that day: the hidden room, the secret garden, the maps, and the treasures. She understood that her grandfather had built the house not just as a home, but as a place of learning, imagination, and joy. The heart of the house was alive, and she was now part of it. Mina knew she had much more to explore. There were still rooms, corridors, and hidden spaces she had not seen. She could feel that the house had more secrets waiting for her. She felt a sense of purpose and excitement. This house was now her world, full of discoveries and lessons that would change her life forever. Before sleeping, Mina placed the key and the letters carefully on the table. She whispered, "I will find all your secrets and keep your heart alive." The house seemed to respond. A gentle breeze moved the curtains, and she felt warmth around her. Mina smiled, feeling ready for the next day. She had uncovered more of the heart of the house, but she knew the greatest mysteries were still ahead. Mina drifted into sleep, dreaming of hidden rooms, secret gardens, and the stories her grandfather had left behind. She felt a sense of peace and wonder, knowing that her life had changed in ways she could not yet imagine. The house had become more than a home. It had become a world of magic, learning, and love, and Mina was ready to explore every part of it. The morning sun filled the house with warm light. Mina woke feeling excited and full of energy. She had discovered so many secrets in the house, but she sensed there were still surprises waiting for her. Today, she decided to explore the attic. She had noticed a narrow staircase leading upwards the day before, and something inside her whispered that she might find something special there. The attic stairs were steep and made of old wood. Mina climbed slowly, holding onto the railing for support. Dust floated in the sunlight, and the air smelled faintly of old wood and forgotten memories. When she reached the top, she found a large door with a simple brass handle. She opened it carefully, and a cool breeze brushed her face. The attic was bigger than she had imagined. It was full of trunks, boxes, and shelves covered in sheets. Mina lifted one of the sheets and discovered a collection of old musical instruments. There were small flutes, a violin, and a piano that looked old but still beautiful. She touched the keys of the piano gently, and even though it had not been played in years, it gave a soft, sweet sound. Mina smiled, imagining her grandfather playing music here. The room felt alive, as if it was waiting to share a story. She moved through the attic, opening trunks one by one. Each trunk contained items that told a piece of her grandfather's life. There were clothes, journals, photographs, and small handmade toys. One trunk contained sketches of the house and garden from when he was a young man. Mina realized that her grandfather had documented everything carefully. He had wanted anyone who came here to feel the life he had lived. Then Mina noticed a small, locked chest tucked in the corner. Unlike the others, this one was polished dark wood, and the keyhole looked special. She remembered the small key she had found on the first day. She took it from her bag and tried it in the lock. To her surprise, it fit perfectly. She turned the key, and the chest opened with a soft click. Inside the chest were letters, photographs, and a small notebook. Mina picked up the notebook and opened it. Her grandfather had written about his dreams for the future, about people he had helped, and about his wishes for Mina. One passage caught her attention. He wrote about a hidden room beneath the house, a place he called the Room of Memories. He said it contained the most precious objects he had collected, things that carried stories and lessons. Mina felt her heart race. Another secret awaited her, and she could hardly wait to discover it. She carefully closed the chest and carried the notebook with her. She followed the clues her grandfather had left in his writings. The room of memories, he had said, was under the house, accessible through a trapdoor in the main hall. Mina walked to the hall and examined the floor. After some searching, she found a small square that looked slightly different from the wooden planks around it. She pressed gently, and the trapdoor lifted with a soft creak. The steps led down into a cool, dark room. Mina switched on her small lantern and looked around. The room was filled with shelves, boxes, and cabinets. Everything was neatly organized. Mina could see objects of every kind: old clocks, pottery, paintings, and letters. Each item seemed carefully preserved, and a sense of peace filled the room. Mina realized that this was more than a storage space. It was a treasure trove of memories, a place where her grandfather had kept pieces of his life for her to discover. She began to examine the items carefully. A small painting of a river reminded her of the river in Riverview. She touched the surface gently, feeling the brushstrokes. There were letters written to friends, expressing gratitude and joy. Mina picked up a small wooden box and opened it. Inside were tiny carved animals, each one delicate and perfect. She realized that her grandfather had used these carvings to teach lessons about care, patience, and attention to detail. Among the items, Mina found a small mirror framed with carved flowers and vines. When she looked into it, she felt a warmth inside her. She noticed a faint inscription at the bottom: "See with your heart, not just your eyes." Mina smiled. She understood what her grandfather meant. The house, the garden, the secret rooms, and the objects were all lessons. They were not just things, they were experiences, memories, and wisdom waiting to be understood. Hours passed as Mina explored the room of memories. She read letters, examined objects, and discovered small notes hidden in drawers. Each note carried advice, encouragement, or a small story. She realized that her grandfather had carefully planned this experience, leaving clues and lessons for her to follow. The house had been his teacher, and now it was hers. As the afternoon sunlight filtered through the small windows, Mina discovered a final cabinet at the back of the room. She opened it and found a small box tied with a ribbon. Inside was a letter addressed to her alone. She opened it and began to read. Her grandfather wrote about the importance of kindness, curiosity, and courage. He encouraged her to live a life filled with discovery, to help others, and to treasure simple moments. He wrote that the house would always guide her, as long as she kept her heart open. Mina felt tears in her eyes. She had never expected to feel so close to her grandfather, and now she understood the meaning of the house. It was more than a home. It was a world full of lessons, memories, and love. Every room, every object, and every corner carried a story. She felt grateful and inspired. After reading the letter, Mina sat quietly in the room of memories, thinking about her grandfather's life and the secrets he had left behind. She realized that she had only begun to understand the heart of the house. There were still more rooms, objects, and paths to discover. The house seemed alive with energy and knowledge, and Mina knew that it would continue to guide her as long as she remained curious and kind. When evening came, Mina returned to her room in the main house. She held the notebook, letters, and small objects close to her. She felt a sense of peace she had never felt before. The house had changed her. It had given her a new way to see the world, to appreciate small joys, and to treasure knowledge and imagination. She realized that her life in Riverview would never be the same. Before sleeping, Mina placed the key, the notebook, and the letters on her table. She whispered softly, "I will honor your heart, and I will learn everything you wanted me to know." The house seemed to respond with a gentle warmth. She smiled, knowing that her grandfather's presence would always guide her. Mina lay down, dreaming of the hidden rooms, secret gardens, and lessons that awaited her. She felt ready for the next day, when she would continue her journey of discovery and uncover even more wonders. Mina slept peacefully, feeling that she was part of something larger than herself. The house was alive, full of memories and magic, and she was ready to explore every corner of it. She knew that the greatest discoveries were still ahead, and she felt excitement and gratitude for the journey she had begun. The morning sun shone gently through the windows of the house. Mina woke with a feeling that today would be special. She had explored almost every corner of the house. The secret corridors, the room of dreams, the hidden garden, and the room of memories had revealed many lessons and treasures. Yet, a small part of her felt that there was still one secret her grandfather had left, one that would show her the heart of the house completely. She decided to explore the oldest part of the house. It was the west wing, where the walls were thick and the floors slightly uneven. She walked carefully, listening to the soft creak of the floorboards beneath her feet. The sunlight through the small windows created patterns on the walls. As she moved along the hallway, Mina noticed a door that was different from all the others. It had carvings she had never seen before. The flowers and vines twisted into shapes that looked like letters, almost like a message waiting to be read. Mina reached for the key she had carried with her since the first day. She inserted it into the lock. To her surprise, it turned smoothly, and the door opened. Beyond the door was a small staircase leading down into darkness. Mina felt a shiver of excitement. This was the last hidden place in the house. She switched on her small lantern and descended slowly, feeling the cool stone beneath her feet. At the bottom of the stairs, Mina found a large underground chamber. The room was filled with light that seemed to come from everywhere at once. The walls were lined with shelves, each holding objects carefully placed. In the center of the room was a large table with a single, beautiful box on it. The box was carved with patterns of flowers, stars, and animals. Mina felt her heart beat faster. She knew this was something special, something her grandfather had saved for her alone. She walked slowly to the table and lifted the lid of the box. Inside were small objects that sparkled in the light, stones, crystals, and tiny glass figures. But more than the objects, there were notes and letters, each with a message. Her grandfather had written about courage, kindness, imagination, and love. Mina realized that this box was the final piece of the heart of the house. It contained the essence of everything her grandfather had believed in, everything he had tried to teach through the house, the garden, and the hidden rooms. Mina began to read the letters. One letter spoke about the importance of finding beauty in simple things. Her grandfather had written about the flowers in the garden, the carvings he made, and the letters he wrote. He had shown that happiness and wonder could be found in the smallest details. Another letter encouraged her to help others whenever she could. Her grandfather had believed that life became richer when one shared kindness and love with the world. Among the letters, Mina found a final note addressed to her. Her grandfather wrote that he hoped she had discovered the house's lessons and that she understood the importance of imagination, curiosity, and care. He explained that the heart of the house was not in one room or object. It was in everything: the secret paths, the hidden gardens, the letters, and the objects carefully placed to guide her. The heart of the house was love, wisdom, and the spirit of discovery. Mina felt a warmth in her chest. She had never felt so connected to someone she had never met. She placed the letters and objects carefully on the table. Mina understood that the house had been her grandfather's way of teaching her how to live a meaningful life. Every object, every secret, every lesson had been carefully arranged to guide her. She realized that she had learned patience, observation, curiosity, and the importance of kindness. The house had not only revealed her grandfather's life, but had also helped her grow in ways she could never have imagined. Mina walked around the chamber slowly. She touched the objects, examined the shelves, and felt the care that had gone into each detail. She realized that her grandfather had wanted her to understand that life itself could be like a house of wonders. Every moment, every action, every small kindness could build a life full of joy and meaning. Mina smiled, feeling her heart light with gratitude and understanding. After exploring the chamber, Mina returned to the main house. She walked through the halls, the sunlight warming her face, and felt a deep sense of belonging. The house was no longer just a building. It was a living memory of her grandfather's life, a collection of lessons and love that she could carry with her forever. She realized that the house had changed her in ways she could not describe. She felt stronger, wiser, and more aware of the beauty in the world around her. That evening, Mina went to the garden once again. She walked along the paths, touched the flowers, and listened to the soft sound of the fountain. The garden felt alive, as if it was smiling at her. She understood that her grandfather's spirit was in every leaf, every stone, and every hidden corner. Mina felt a sense of peace and happiness that she had never known before. The house, the garden, and all its secrets had given her a new perspective on life. Mina decided to write in her own notebook. She described everything she had seen, everything she had learned, and how the house had made her feel. She wanted to remember every detail so that she could carry the lessons with her. She knew that one day she would share the house and its secrets with others who would appreciate its beauty and wisdom. The house had been a gift not only to her, but to anyone willing to see its heart. As the night fell, Mina lit a small lamp and placed it on the table beside the key and the letters. She whispered softly, "Thank you for everything. I will carry your heart with me, always." The house seemed to respond with a gentle warmth, and Mina felt her grandfather's presence around her. She realized that she was part of something much larger than herself. The house, its secrets, and its lessons would always be with her, guiding her through life. Mina lay down to sleep that night with a heart full of gratitude and wonder. She dreamed of the hidden chambers, the secret gardens, the treasures, and the lessons she had discovered. She knew that her life had changed forever. The house had not only given her a home but had given her wisdom, courage, and a deeper understanding of love and kindness. The next morning, Mina awoke feeling ready to live her life differently. She knew that she would always remember the heart of the house and everything her grandfather had left for her. She felt ready to share kindness, to explore the world with curiosity, and to treasure every moment. Mina smiled, looking around the house one last time before beginning her new journey. She understood that the house had prepared her for life, and she felt confident and happy, knowing that the heart of the house would always guide her.